Hey y'all, hey, it's eye-kuh again, here again with another pick a card video. I know that I dropped that money in finances and it's been a little second. And so if you're not new here, you probably was like, eye-kuh's back on hiatus. No, I'm not back on hiatus. I'm here to I'm here to talk to the spirits and share what they tell me. This time for today's video, which I think is going to be really, really fun and really interesting. Today we're doing a video on forgiveness and reconciliation. More specifically, the question is, should you forgive them? And if so, if not, how do you reconcile the situation anyway? I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Based on some personal things in my own life, yeah, I felt like this was just a good video to do. I think that sometimes, we be in our conflict with loved ones and, you might want to forgive or you might want the situation to be forgiven, whatever it is. And then, the process of forgiveness is not always as easy as we'd like it to be. It's not as simple as a sorry. It's not just as simple as a conversation. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And that is what we're here to kind of figure out today, okay? How, if you should forgive and how you should forgive or how they should forgive or whatever the situation needs. So obviously this can be between a parent, a loved one, a lover, a friend. It can be between a coworker, whoever it is that when you saw this thumbnail you was like, ooh, how did she know? How did she know that they, you know what I'm saying? It could be a long-standing situation. You could be like, how did she know that me and such was not where we usually are? We are not in happy space, and I don't necessarily know what to do about it. I didn't know, but I did have this on my heart to do for anyone who needed it at any time, okay? And so yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into this because as much as I love relationships of all kinds with whoever, I also love, I don't know how I should say this, but I know that relationships, as much as I love them, go through the things. And sometimes it just be a little harder to get through it, or sometimes you just don't know what to do in order to get through those bumps in the road that come up inevitably with relationships. So, okay, yeah, let's not waste any more time. We again have 3 piles to choose from, as highlighted by these lovely cards with different sayings on them, all geared towards forgiveness or apologies or whatever it is. We have 3 piles to choose from. Pile 1 would be my apologies. Pile 2 would be I'm sorry. And pile 3 would be forgive me. Now, once again, if you already have someone in mind, choose whatever kind of comes up to your heart. Maybe you're choosing a number, so you're like, oh, pile 2, or whatever. That's not suggestive of anything. Yeah, or maybe you like a certain type of apology. Whatever feels good for you. If you feel like you want to choose one today for one person and choose another card another day for another person, that is totally up to you. This video is here for you whenever you need it. Yeah, and again, I just hope that you get something good from it and that your relationships and whoever you're thinking about and you personally, person watching this video, reconcile the situation in a way that works best for you and for the relationship. So without further ado, I babbled long enough and hopefully you chose your pile. You have a pile on your heart. If not, you can definitely pause the video and give yourself some more time. The timestamps for each pile will be in the description box. And yeah, without babbling any more, I will see you all at your pile. All right, hello pile 1. If you chose the my apologies card or pile 1, chapter 1, however it is that you had it in your mind, this is your stop. And yeah, we're gonna see, should you forgive the situation or the person, and if so, if not, how should you reconcile? Okay, so we're gonna start off. I'm gonna do something really interesting today. We're gonna use some coins to answer the first question. Let me stop shuffling, because then otherwise you won't be able to hear me. We're gonna use some coins to answer the first question. Should you forgive them or the situation, whoever it is on your mind? Okay, think clearly, pile one. I'm here for you. Okay, let me move this. Okay. Okay, so you see our quarters here. Very simple. If it's on heads, it's a yes. If it's on tails, it's a no. But because we got 3/4 here, it might just 3 coins here. I'll read them in a different way. But essentially, what I got from how these landed is that yes, I think that it is very possible, and that you should. Maybe that's a little too strong, but you are able to forgive them if you so choose to. It wouldn't be a bad thing to forgive them or the situation. I can kind of see pile one, you might be doubting the forgiveness, you might be doubting whether or not the situation can be forgiven. But it seems like more so there's just work to be done, and that work might just be a little extra than you feel like dealing with. And you may not know how to deal with it, but that's exactly why I'm here. We're gonna figure it out together. Yeah, it might be a little bit of extra work, and so you might land on like, nah, I just won't do anything about it, or we'll just kind of get past it, or I'll just drop the situation. All of those things can be feasible solutions, but we'll see. We'll see kind of where it goes from here. Okay, so yes, let's see. You want to forgive them? Sure. But how can you forgive them? Let's answer the next question. Pile one. Okay. So I see the situation might have, let me move this over, y'all. I'm sorry. I see that the situation, jeez, might have brought on a lot of change, and or it will bring on a lot of change. But okay, so I get a few different things. Sleep on it. You know what I'm saying? Rest up. You can be a little anxious about the situation. We got a lot of major arcana cards here. But you might be a little, not sleeping accurately, not eating appropriately for the situation. But get some rest. Rest about it. I think you probably just letting it lay on your spirit a little bit too much. Funnily enough, with this first card, I get a reading about it, get some insight about it, talk to someone, a trusted person, to get either a different perception of the situation, or just a perception that will help you to see the bigger picture clearly. Okay, of what's going on, because I feel like whatever conflict or whatever situation has happened with you, pile one, you might be just a little, like I said, a little uneasy. It might cause some unrest, but genuinely, part of it is like the changes are bigger than you. Sorry, the sun is like moving, the clouds are moving past the sun, so the lighting of the video is changing. But yeah, it might be causing you some unrest, pile one, but the situation is a little bit bigger than you. So I think that you don't necessarily, and whoever you're thinking about, you don't necessarily need to put all of the responsibility on you both as individuals. Did you both have a part to play? Yes, but also there are things bigger than you happening that might have led to the conflict, right? That might have led to the situation at which you're like, how can we reconcile this? So I think that that's one of the big things. Also, I think another thing is to show up for one another. I think that in this moment, pile one, whoever you're considering your relationship is bound to change because of whatever is happening around you. But that is not a bad thing. It is change that I personally feel in my spirit, y'all, that you should welcome. It is change that is going to help the future. That feels very far out to say, but I do feel that's accurate. I think it's change that will affect the future and definitely affect how you're able to show up in this relationship. And I feel like more positive ways, right? I don't necessarily feel like this relationship is going downhill. It's just changing. Y'all got some things going on, and it's probably causing some issues here and there, and you might be a little stubborn and they might be a little stubborn because the situation is already too much. But at the same time, I don't want to take that away from you all, pile one, but I do want to say that the situation is um it's just not necessary for you to internalize and or project onto them that it's their fault or their reasoning. So answering the question to begin with of, should you forgive them? Can things be forgiven? You might not necessarily want to because you might feel a little stubborn and you might be like, ugh. But I feel like there is just more good that can come from you just showing up or them just showing up and having a conversation. It could be a conversation, but I also feel like hang out, go do something, go do something that y'all both like to do together, right? And have some fun together, right? Like I said, I don't want to minimize the situation, but I genuinely have a feeling of it's just not that deep, and it's just not like you don't need to take it that personally. And I say that for the situation, but I also say as far as an apology, you don't need to make it so heavy. Okay, and that's where I feel like that no is coming from. Is like you're making it heavier than it needs to be. Maybe because you're tired, maybe because you're not eating like you used to, maybe because it's stressing you out a little bit. But for real, it doesn't even need to do all of that. You can let it go just by having a good time and just remembering the beautiful things, the important things, the good things that characterizes your relationship with this person. And yeah, I think that things in that nature will be forgiven. Y'all will be good. Y'all will be good. And I think it'll teach you guys too, which is this big house card I feel at the end. It'll teach you guys too to be a bit more resilient in your relationship and to feel just more grounded in the relationship that y'all have, and knowing that it is a good thing, because I do feel that so heavily with you, pile one, that whatever relationship, whatever person you're thinking about, it is a beautiful thing, and it's no need to drop that off by the wayside or cut anybody off. You know what I'm saying? It's just a bump in the road, and it's a bump in the road that has more to do with outer circumstances than it does with you and the other person or the other people that you're considering, okay? And so, yeah, just enjoy each other, have a good time, and that is how you guys will make up and reconcile the situation. Pile one, we love a good, like, straightforward, cool read. You know what I'm saying? It makes my job, it makes me sitting on this floor a lot easier. But yeah, pile one, I'm really happy to feel y'all's relationship, whoever it is that you're thinking about. I wish y'all continued blessings within one another, and that once again, as y'all move through reconciliation and forgiving the situation, that it is as the cards say, that you guys will get better, you will get stronger, you will feel better about showing up for one another and being there for one another, and your relationship will be much much stronger because of it. And whatever is happening on the outer circumstances, just being there for each other will make those things a lot easier. And even if they are not easy, you showing up for each other makes the world of a difference in how that situation will play out in the future. So yeah, pile one, what a good way to start us off. As always, a beautiful way to start us off. Um, yeah, I wish y'all continued success, pile one. I won't babble any longer. Um, keep y'all head up. Love your people, love your person a lot more. I'm excited. Y'all gotta tell me like what y'all ended up doing, what fun y'all ended up having. Please indulge me, because I just like to be nosy a little bit. But yeah, wishing y'all the best, pile one. Until next time. All right, pile two, or if you chose the I'm sorry pile or card, this is your stop. This is your stop on answering if you should forgive them, if the situation can be forgiven, and how can you reconcile either way. So I'm gonna start off by answering the first question with a bit of a coin toss. You know, if you flip a coin and you're like, hey, yes or no, that's what we're gonna do to start off with. I got 3 coins, and yeah, I'll let you know. We'll start off with, should you forgive them, or can the situation be forgiven? You see me shuffling. Ooh, pile 2. I get a no. I get a no. You have a bit of a yes. You definitely might see that there's a yes, but I get a no. I get a very, very clear no. And that's interesting, because a very, very clear no would be all 3 of these landing on tails. You got 1 that landed on heads, but I still feel very like, no. I think that whatever happened in this situation might be a little hard to reconcile. It may have crossed a very hard line, a very hard boundary. And you might want to forgive them. You might want to forgive the situation and move forward, but I'm getting a no. And I just want to be very transparent about that, y'all. And trust me, I am more empathetic than you know. I've been in your shoes, pile 2, which is also why I'm doing this type of reading. So let's answer the second part of the question with, how then should you reconcile the situation? Ooh. I was gonna say, bro. I was gonna say, this is feeling more like couples. Wherever you land in this, whether it was something that maybe, like, obviously in all conflict, right? Everybody involved contributes to the situation. But if it was a situation where your boundaries were crossed, or if it was a situation where you crossed a boundary, yeah, I get that it was somewhat within a relationship. Okay. Now I did leave this open, but it's giving relationship. I left it open to be between you and any person in your life, but it's definitely giving relationship, okay? And I feel like, okay, I'm just gonna set these to the side because I want to answer these 2 differently. So for the answer of, or for the question of, how do you then reconcile the situation? Definitely consider, you gotta put your head on straight, pile 2. You gotta get your head on straight, okay? You have to be willing to make certain decisions. And I know that that might be a little difficult in this situation. I don't necessarily know who you're thinking about or whatever, but it might be a little difficult. But you have to get it together. I'm so sorry to be blunt with you. I always feel like pile 2 makes me just like want to puff my chest out and just tell y'all how like it is, without all of the empathy that I like to come with. And I'll let it ride. I'll let it ride for right now. But yeah, you gotta pull up your pants, do your due diligence, and make some decisions, make some moves, right? Be proactive in your decisions. Don't just say, I'm gonna do this, and then just sit on it. don't just make the decision in your mind, is what I'm trying to tell you about. So you need to make some decisions. What decisions those are up to you. Obviously, this is a very general pick a card, so I'm not going to get very specific on what you should do. If you want to, you can reach out to me. We can talk about it more. But more importantly, you have to make some decisions. You have to look at the facts of the situation. Like I said before, you might want to reconcile, you might want to forgive the situation, but you have to look at the facts as the facts. You have to know that whatever was crossed, whatever boundaries were crossed, that it's just too far, and from now moving forward, you just have to make different decisions, or you just have to make a decision. So to give a bit more context, if I can, right, if it is a situation where you are dealing with a past relationship or whatever person, maybe it's like, okay, that person did this, or this is what happened in this situation, but now I'm gonna go out and date. The relationship is over. I'm gonna go out and date, and you have to sign up for that. You have to, see what's out there. You cannot just be like, I'm gonna go out and date, and then just sit on that. Okay, you need to actively go do it. Now, you might not know, and that's kind of what I feel in these other cards, right? You might not know exactly how that's gonna go, and that might be scary, because if it is a situation, which I'm kind of feeling in the cards, that you got to walk away from, and that it just can't be forgiven, you might be like, okay, so what's the road ahead of me then, right? How is it going to play out, right? I know that starting new relationships is very terrifying. I know that. Meeting new people, and I don't want to put that on you, right? I know that it can be terrifying, but meeting new people is, sometimes you just don't want to start over. You just don't have to do all of these things over. Tell someone the same thing that this person who has known you for X amount of time has already known and shown, that they understood somewhat. But yeah, you have to be proactive in that. You have to take that chance and just figure out with what you know, and just ride the course. Just go along. Keep going. Keep moving. I want to even say keep moving forward, because it's like that. You just gotta keep on keeping on. You cannot. I also feel like, to tell you, pile two, you cannot just stay stuck. That's not an option here. I feel like that's why the message is so strong, with like, you have to pick it up, and you have to just make decisions, and you have to make those moves, right? You cannot just sit here. I don't know why I have to keep saying this, but you cannot just make the decision and sit on it. You have to make decisions. Even if you don't know where it's going to go, it does not matter. It does matter, but it does not matter. You have to just allow yourself to experience different things and take in that information differently. You have to allow yourself to go the journey. And you'll kind of figure out things better from there. And personally, pile two, I've had to do a similar thing in another situation, and it was definitely difficult, but I didn't go that journey completely ignorantly. I didn't go through that journey without any knowledge. You have a repertoire of intelligence, right? You have abilities and skills and know-how, and you know what it is that you like and what you don't like. You know how it is that you would like your life to look like, and what that is. You have all of these things in mind, and so you're not going this journey, as a, what they call in the tarot as the fool. You're not going into this completely ignorant with nothing. You're going into this journey with an understanding, a better understanding of what you, the other person, the situation deserves. Regardless, like I said, if you are the person who crossed the boundary, or if you're the person whose boundaries were crossed, no matter what side, the situation deserves better than that. You, the other person, all of you deserve a better situation than that. And so you gotta kind of buckle down on those skills, that the psychology of it all, the skills to know how to apologize, the skills to know how to navigate relationships better in the future. You have to take all of that and you have to make decisions towards that, especially pile two, if you are considering, if this is about a relationship, you have to allow yourself to just go through it. Okay, you gotta allow yourself to just be in it and allow yourself to meet someone where you are and in a better place, going forward in a better way. Okay, because like I said in the garden card, I just definitely feel like you know that the situation, everybody involved deserves better. Okay. Pile two, I promise you, every single time I do a pick a card, y'all are always the one that spirit likes to kind of like be more blunt towards, and always end up feeling at the end just a whole lot of empathy for whatever the situation is that you're going through. And in this situation, right, where like I said, it started off with you maybe want to forgive them. You might be trying to forgive this person in a certain kind of way, but it is just not, it's not the best route. Okay? At least this is what the cards are saying. This is what this pile is saying. It's just not the best route. And I'm so sorry for anyone involved who had their boundaries crossed and has made a situation unreconcilable. Is that a word? Is that a word? Has made it very hard to reconcile and has, you know, kind of closed that door, so to speak. And I'm very, very sorry for any hurt that has transpired in your situation, pile two. I, more than anything, just wish you just the continued strength, which I know you have. It shows me right here that the continued strength to make the choices and act on the choices that you're making to receive better love, relationship with whoever. But like I said, I feel like this is more romantically inclined, but you know, that you receive that everyone involved receives that moving forward. I know that you have the power, the skill, the knowledge, the intelligence, the wisdom, the the actual will, if you will, a little pun for you, that you have the will to see that through. Okay, I know that you do, pile two, and I just continue, or I continue to wish that encouragement upon you, and that fire again just carries you to where it is that you want to be, and carries the person that you were thinking about at the start of this to where they want to be as well. And I feel like that, in its own funny way, will reconcile the situation at which you were considering, pile two. So, yes, my heart goes out to you as always, pile two. Again, if you need anything more from me, if you want more specifics, definitely reach out to me. But until then, my love is with you, pile two, and I will see you later. Pile three, or if you chose the forgive me card, this is your stop. Yeah, we're gonna ask, should you forgive the situation, or can the situation be forgiven? And if so, if not, how to reconcile it anyway. So to answer the first part, I'm going to do a bit of a coin throw, and it'll work like, you know, heads or tails, right? But I got 3 coins, and we'll just go from there. So let's get into it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Should you forgive? Can the situation be forgiven? Pile 3. Okay. We got another yes. I feel like more so with you, pile 3, it's similar to another pile, but I'm not telling you to go to another pile. I'm just saying it's similar. I feel like more so yes, but you're struggling. You're struggling a little bit more, pile 3, with like, yes, the situation can be forgiven, but overall, you might have had it in your head that it cannot. That it's just too much. And that can be for a lot of different reasons. Again, why I decided to do a reading like this is because I just know from experience that sometimes it be my own emotions or whatever clouding my judgment and seeing the path forward and how to forgive or be forgiven or reconcile the situation. And I kind of feel like that's where you are, pile three, where it's like you might just be a little clouded in how to actually move forward. I do feel like whatever the situation is, though, you feel very slighted, and or whoever else is involved feels very slighted and they feel very disrespected, which is interesting from the other pile. That which is different, interesting and different. Lord Jesus, I get so excited I start mumbling my words, but jumbling my words. You see? So this could also mean that this is probably a situation of miscommunication. Hearing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing, hearing things in a way that the other person didn't necessarily mean for it to come out, and or intend to say, and or them saying that or doing that to you. All right, pile three, y'all are not gonna mess up my mouth, okay? I feel like I can barely talk in this pile. So yeah. Now for the second part of the question, how to reconcile the situation, let's answer. What else? You don't have to know tarot, but this is my card of like, again, you're more so sitting in your feelings. Someone's hurt. You or the other person is hurt, and so they're just in their feelings. You're probably in your feelings. How do you forgive? Lordy Jesus, y'all. I'm good at what I do. I can tell you that much, okay? Because look, we have that right there. Something was, I won't tap because I feel like it messes with the audio of the video and what you can hear. But something in these two cards tells me that someone was hurt. Someone was disappointed. And I don't mean to laugh at that. I am just tickled by the synchronicity of it all. But sincerely, someone was hurt in that. And it might have came off a bit too harsh. Whatever was said, whatever was done, it might have came off a bit too harsh, pile three. And so you're hurt. People are hurt. I feel like the way to reconcile the situation, though, is that there definitely does need to be a time where you all are sitting in your feelings. You all are sitting with what it is that you feel. It's a very important process, right? To know, this hurt me because XYZ. And that's not necessarily that's more so for you to understand than for the other person to understand at the moment. But it is, hey, this bothered me, this disappointed me, whatever. I think, they have emotion wheels, easily Googleable. So Google those and try to get as close as you can to naming what you feel and what it's making you feel like you need. Not even just from the person, but from the situation. What's going missing or what's missing in the situation, right? Hey, this hurt me because it didn't make me feel safe. This disappointed me because my safety was on the line, right? Or this made me angry because I didn't feel I needed comfort more in this moment, and that's just not what I got when it was responded to in this way. So I feel like sitting with what it is that you feel, pile three, is very, very important because there's a lot of strength in that. You also have to own up, and you have to allow everybody else in the situation to own up to what bothered them, to what hurt them, okay? I think it's such an interesting thing that for pile three, you got forgive me, right? You have to allow not only for you to be hurt, pile three, but you have to accept that other people can be hurt too, right? It's not a situation of I'm hurt so I'm right, or a situation where just your hurt or whatever it is that you're feeling is prioritized. It's not your emotions alone that define the situation, is what I'm trying to tell you, pile three. You have to allow room for other people to feel. And you have to listen, be open to listening to them on how they feel. And when I say open to how they feel, they might also be seeing the situation. They also might be, you know what I'm saying? Like I said in the beginning, they also might be, their judgments might be clouded because of how whatever they're feeling affects them, all of the things that it's triggering for them as well. They may not be able to see these things as clearly. But I think the beauty of both the Five of Baskets and the Three of Knives, because these two cards coming out, if you're a tarot person like I am, you know that this is kind of a wild combination to have, in terms of, like, you know, these cards almost always signify like hurt and loss and heartbreak and all of these things. These cards both symbolize that, disappointments, all of these things, grief, sorrow. So that lives in these cards, absolutely. But you have to, but I feel like the message and the beauty of both of these cards is that heartbreak, disappointment, these very, what we consider to be negatively impactful emotions on our psyche and our nervous system, really gives us a better understanding of what our needs are, of the things that we really truly value in a situation, in a relationship, whatever relationship this is. For you, I don't know how many times I'll say this, but it's just very helpful to move through these emotions and to acknowledge them in yourself and within other people, because it tells you what you truly value, what it is that you truly care about. When it's not there, when you, like, for example, from my examples earlier, if you say, hey, I am disappointed because I feel unsafe, it lets you know that safety is something that you value. And then from that point, then you can say, hey, how can we make sure this relationship is more safe? Right? If it's a situation of, hey, that hurt made me feel unheard or misunderstood. That way you know that being understood is important to you. So it's like, how can we work together to make sure that I'm understood? And like I said before, pile 3, you also have to allow room for the other person to collaborate with you in the same area, right? They're hurt, they're disappointed, they feel misunderstood, they don't feel seen, they don't feel validated. Then you know that being validated, being seen, being misunderstood, or being understood is very important to them. So then that opens up a door for you to say, hey, what can I do? What can happen in this situation so that you feel more understood, so that you feel validated? And again, nobody's wrong for having needs, okay? I feel like that's important to say to you, pile 3. Nobody's wrong for having needs, for having for having needs. And like I said, our emotions, the things that we feel when we're triggered in these ways, these emotions are more than likely here to tell us that, hey, something is not right, something is lacking, something that I need. I want to quote SuperNova Momma, right? A parent educator and all of those things. I don't know her direct titles. I will put her in the description box though. One of her famous quotes is, misbehavior is communication of unmet needs, right? Again, no one is wrong for having needs, but we're all trying to get our needs met in some kind of way. And there's different needs that we might have. And this is where I will quote Dayna Lynn Knuckolls. She has a page on Instagram called Psyche Self Soul, and she lists out 7 essential needs for humans. And I work with it a lot, and I think it's very helpful to see. It's really great visuals so that you can kind of more clearly see, like, this is a need that I have, or it gives you better language. I'm trying to put it simply. You know, I'm not trying to take up too much time in these piles, but like I get to pile 3 and I'll be wanting to like preach and explain everything so in depth. But yes, both of those resources are really helpful. I'll link them below. But yes, again, no one is wrong for having needs. We're all just trying to meet them in some kind of way. And we just are not going to be perfect at that. And that is why SuperNova Momma says misbehavior. Anything that seems like it is out of alignment with our character, with the situation, whatever, is a way for us to get our needs met. And so I can understand pile 3 that maybe for the both of you, whoever it is that you're considering, you as well may have misbehaved in some kind of way, and it has maybe caused hurt, disappointment, or any negatively impactful emotion in the process. But again, it was considered that it might have been to get a need met that was not being met. And maybe you just didn't have the language for it. You didn't have the skills to meet in a better way. But utilize what it is that you are feeling right now and those resources that I gave you to better understand what it is that you need, and to come to the other person and share with the other person what you have learned and discovered, and collaborate with them on ways that in relationship you can meet those needs within the other, for the other. Okay, pile 3. Pile 3, you get the biggest hug from me. You get the absolute biggest hug from me. Genuinely, I'm just honestly, I'm so proud that you even showed up to the pile and that you stuck it through with me. I know that was a lot of information. I'm so very happy that you came here, and that, excuse me, you're at least trying to figure it out. I hope that that was helpful and insightful for you and for the other person that you're considering. And that, yeah, through this process, you find better ways to be with each other and to be good to one another, and to help meet needs and that the other person and that you have. Sincerely, pile 3. I wish so much success in that journey. Sincerely, let me know how it goes too. That's such an important work to do. But yeah, I'm already here for a very long time, so I won't continue forward. But yes, that's very important work to do. I'm so proud of you, pile 3, once again. I hope it was helpful. I wish continued success and bountiful, abundant love and consideration and meeting of your needs and the other person needs in your relationship, okay? Yes. So with that, until next time, pile 3.